Ola Aina was the man of the match against Egypt. He played as, I believe he was a right back. You know, he was a right back defender against Egypt. And, Ola Aina plays fullback so well. Right back, that's considered a fullback. And he plays that position so fucking well. Fullbacks usually have both offensive and defensive duties. And he was elite against Egypt. Ola Aina was elite at both ends. He definitely was. He got several tackles against Egypt. He was constantly getting tackles, getting the ball from Egypt, and he was constantly pushing the ball forward. He had a lot of good runs where he would just run up the field full speed. And he knows how to pass the ball, he knows how to play make. He's that perfect dual threat. He can play at a high level offensively, and he can play at a high level defensively. So Ola Aina, to me, he contributed to the team more against Egypt than Kelechi Iheanacho did. So congrats to him. I expected Samuel Chukwueze to play much better against Egypt than he did. Before the game, I was thinking Samuel Chukwueze, he's going to be his normal self. He's usually attack-oriented, running fast up the field on that wing, flashy, creative. He tries to score goals. He scored goals. There's been several games, with the Super Eagles that Chukwueze has scored, So he's usually a vibrant, upbeat, confident player. But against Egypt, he didn't show up. Man, while watching the game, I'm like, the Egyptian defense just straight up shut down Samuel Chukwueze. He barely even got the ball. And when Chukwueze did get the ball, he did not do anything with it, He either got the ball intercepted, stripped away from the Egyptian defenders, or he would just pass it as soon as he got it. And that's unusual for him. But this is not the first time he didn't play at his best. This is not the first time he hasn't played at his best. It was a friendly match. The Super Eagles played a friendly match some months ago. I think it was last year against Algeria. And Samuel Chukwueze, he did not have a great game against, Algeria in that friendly match. And I'm wondering, does Samuel Chukwueze struggle on the wing against North African teams? He struggled against Algeria in that friendly match last year. And Chukwueze also struggled against Egypt in the first African Cup of Nations game. So it might be a trend that Chukwueze, he just struggles against North African defense. I'm not gonna lie, North Africa has probably the best defense in the world. Typically, North African defense is probably the best in the world. I'll say North African defense and Eastern European defense are like the most compact, technical, organized defenses, and they're physical too. Like North African teams play amazing defense. countries like Morocco, Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, those North African countries usually are great defensively. They're usually compact, technical on the defensive end, and they're good at getting interceptions. Yeah, North African teams are usually great at getting interceptions, stealing the ball away from you, and like they North African defenders, they usually have the technical ability to be able to like cut off the field, So yeah, like Samuel Chukwueze, he struggles against defenders who are both physical, fast, and technical. If you're a team that's those three things, physical, fast, and technical on defense, if you have those three qualities on defense, then you're going to give Samuel Chukwueze a hard time on that wing. Samuel Chukwueze, he plays amazing, against sub-Saharan African nations. Samuel Chukwueze, he plays at a very high level against Black African teams. Black African teams play good defense, but their defense isn't technical like the North Africans. I'm not saying Black Africans, they don't play any technical style of play. I'm saying like sub-Saharan African countries, their defense is not as technical and organized as the North African nations like Morocco or Algeria or Tunisia or Egypt. Like when I watch Chukwueze play against sub-Saharan Black African teams, he's usually very creative, high energy, running up the field full speed for attacks, and he could penetrate usually against Black African teams, from the wing into the middle of the field. He'll be on the wing, and against Black African teams from the wing, and he'll be able to penetrate from the wing into the middle of the field. But against countries like Algeria, Egypt, he's unable to do that because the Egyptian, like yesterday, the Egyptian defenders were technical enough to know how to cut off Chukwueze from getting into the middle of the field, against, the Egyptian defense. They made sure that Chukwueze, he didn't have the ability to get in the middle of the field. They kept Chukwueze on the outside, on the wing, and if you're strictly on the wing as a winger, you can't do anything besides cross the ball in. Like it's going to be hard as hell to score a goal when you're on the wing, when you're so far away from the goal. And yeah, they shut him down. Chukwueze, he was shut down against Algeria too. Yeah, and I don't think that's a coincidence. North African defenders are just, yeah, they're just Samuel Chukwueze's kryptonite. He didn't do anything in that game. Chukwueze, he didn't do anything against Egypt. Like the Egyptian defenders just totally shut him out the game. And Chukwueze should not be a winger against North African nations. The Super Eagles should not have Samuel Chukwueze playing as winger against North African teams. They should not. Against North African teams, Chukwueze, he should be in that midfield. Chukwueze, he has all the qualities to be a good midfielder. He's high energy. He'll be able to push the ball up the field in the middle. He has the perfect quickness to dribble up the field in the middle. So Chukwueze, he can be a great midfielder. And the coach, Eagle Vaughn, for Super Eagles, Eagle Vaughn should try Chukwueze as a midfielder and see how he does in that position. To me, I'd rather have Chukwueze in the midfield than Joe Aribo. Joe Aribo, he's a good player, but I don't really understand the hype with Joe Aribo. He's a good player, he's all right, but he's not very creative. I don't think Joe Aribo is creative enough to be in the midfield for the Super Eagles. He's a good body in the midfield. He's physical, and he can make short passes, but he's not creative at all. Like when I watch him against Egypt, when I watch Joe Aribo play against Egypt, a lot of times Joe Aribo was just passing the ball back. He'll have a wide-ass gap in the Egyptian defense to pass the ball forward or to just dribble the ball forward up the field, And instead of doing that, he'll just pass the ball backwards. So Joe Aribo, he's not very creative, So I don't know if we need him to be in our midfield. We need midfielders who are very creative and can help out with our attack. Joe Aribo, I watched a lot of his games, and he only had like one good game with the Super Eagles, to be honest. Joe Aribo only had one good game with the Super Eagles, and that was that friendly that the Super Eagles played against Brazil, back in late 2019. Back in November of 2019, I believe, the Nigerian Super Eagles had a friendly match against Brazil, and that was the friendly match against Brazil that Joe Aribo scored, and that was the only really good game that Joe Aribo has really had with the Super Eagles. I really don't think he should be starting on the squad. But he's not a bad player. He's a decent player, but I'd rather have... Joe Aribo started against Egypt. I think I'd rather have Iwobi start in the midfield than Joe Aribo. Iwobi is a better dribbler than Joe Aribo. Iwobi is faster and quicker than Joe Aribo. Iwobi is a better playmaker than Joe Aribo. Iwobi has made some dazzling passes. Iwobi can play make. He's creative. And Iwobi can score goals. Joe Aribo hasn't really proven he can score goals on a consistent basis. I'd rather have Iwobi starting than Joe Aribo. Then another person who played against Egypt was Moses Simon. Moses Simon, he did he did decent. He could have played better. That's another player I don't know that should be starting on our squad. If you're a winger, you should be able to complete accurate crosses. Against Egypt, most of Moses Simon's crosses were inaccurate. And when you're in that wing, you need to know how to kick the ball, pass the ball accurately from that wing, into the middle of the field so the striker can score. But the thing that Moses Simon did do well against Egypt was he was very energetic, he was fast on the wing, and he constantly pushed the ball forward up the field, for attacks. And that's the type of play we need, from Moses Simon. I congratulate Kelechi Iheanacho for scoring against Egypt. He scored our only goal. And I'm still not too sure with Kelechi Iheanacho. Like, he'll score, but he still has, flaws in his game. Kelechi, he's not a great dribbler. He'll constantly, because Kelechi is not a good dribbler, he'll constantly lose the ball against teams, turn over the ball, lose possession. And his first touch kind of sucks. Kelechi's first touch kind of sucks, man. He could have scored a second goal, but his first touch, of the ball was so horrible. The ball just bounced off his leg and bounced away from him 6 feet, and it ruined the scoring chance. It was a wide open goal, but his first touch was just so garbage. So he could have scored 2 goals, but dang, he's not the most skilled. He's talented, but he's not the most skilled, and he's not the most technical. But I commend him for scoring. He knows how to score, but his lack of skill and lack of technical ability may hurt us eventually. Who else played? Kenneth Amaruro, I commend him. He helped shut down Mohamed Salah. He was running faster than I thought he would. I didn't think Amaruro could run that fast as I was seeing him run against Egypt. I saw Amaruro play with the Super Eagles a few times, and I don't remember him being as fast, And, center backs, they need to be very quick, be very fast, to catch up, to be able to contain, the high level, the very fast strikers, And he did his thing. I mean, there's a couple times where Amaruro, he had the ball, and instead of keeping the ball in bounds and passing it to a teammate, he'll just kick the ball out of bounds and turn over possession. But overall, he did his thing. Choose Ekong. I was kind of impressed with Choose Ekong this game. Usually, Ekong has these horrible long ball passes that are inaccurate, but today, against Egypt yesterday, most of William Ekong's long balls were accurate, right on the money. I was like, oh, wow. And man, I think the Super Eagles, man, I think we can win this African Cup of Nations. The win we had against Egypt was like a total confidence booster. This team, this Nigerian Super Eagles team is already super talented as is, and all we need is that boost of confidence. And we have that boost of confidence for beating Egypt, So, man, I don't even expect us, I'm not trying to be cocky for the Super Eagles, but I don't even expect Nigeria to lose any game, in this African Cup of Nations, That's how good we are as a team. I was impressed with the Super Eagles defense. Usually our defense under Gernot Rohr was decent, but under Igor Vaughn, our defense was very organized. Against Egypt, Nigeria's defense was very organized. We're always in position against Egypt, to get the ball when we needed it. Usually under Gernot Rohr, on defense, the Super Eagles were not always in position. So it was a harder time. It's a hard time when you're playing defense and you're not in position. You can never get the ball when you need it when you're not in position. But when we were playing defense against Egypt, man, we got the ball a lot of times because we were always in position to get the ball, So Nigerian Super Eagles, we always had the talent. It's just that, our flaw was Gernot Rohr, Our flaw was Gernot Rohr. He wasn't the coach for the team, and I'm glad the Nigerian Football Federation fired him. And yes, Igor Vaughn did what he said, Igor Vaughn, he said he's going to make the Super Eagles an attack-oriented team, and that's what he did. I mean, there were several plays the Super Eagles were running full speed up the field and pushing for an attack, and that's how we need to play. Where are you guys? Peace.